Yep, I've got a notification come up saying that it's now live streaming.
Marvelous. Perfect. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Action Coach Birmingham's Lunch and Learn, where we have the lovely Lisa Organ from Lisa's Sweet Treats with us this afternoon. So hi, Lisa.
Hello, Julie. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you very much. Now, doing it slightly different. We have no slides, we have no presentation, we have nothing prepared. We are going to have a chat for the next hour to learn more about you, about your business, about the product you offer and how it can be utilised in people's marketing plans to make them stand out from the crowd. Is that all right?
That sounds lovely. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
My absolute pleasure. So firstly, tell everybody, so if you're on Facebook, if you're on LinkedIn, you're watching us live, please pop us a note to say hi and that you're watching and listening to us. We will wave back, we will say hi. And if you've got any questions at all for Lisa throughout this webinar, then please, again, just do reach out. She will be happy, I am sure, to answer them. My favourite one is going to be asked in a minute, which is her favourite sweet, but you know, we'll get to that in a second, I'm sure. So if you're out there, then please do say hello to us. We like to know that we're not by ourselves, don't we? So Lisa, over to you. Tell me a little bit more about you, your background, what inspired you to create your own business?
Yeah, no worries. So for me, my parents have always been self-employed, and so have a lot of our family friends. So I do think it was kind of inevitable to end up on this route, which is definitely not a bad thing. So I was at school, I had no idea what to do. Like so many people, you just don't really know what to do. I did A-levels and I thought, I still don't really know what to do. So I'll go and do a business degree because business is very broad and it covered everything from a bit of marketing, bit of operations, bit of HR. And it just kind of gave me a bit of a chance really to learn a bit more. I went to a fantastic University of Gloucestershire, which was so focused on hands-on real world experience, which was something that I absolutely loved. And when I was there, I was lucky enough to go on a placement year as well, which is your first year out in industry. And I worked for a local company contracting into a large public sector transport organisation, which I absolutely loved doing. So working there as an IT project manager. And then I went back to university, finished my last year in Cheltenham, and then I finished to go onto a operations graduate scheme. So then I went to go and work within logistics in the food sector. So that was very interesting to go and do that, which didn't actually really end up starting the business. And then I went back to working in telecoms on the railway side. And then I was coming up to the end of my graduate scheme, and I think sort of just reflecting on really what I wanted to do. Where does my passion lie? And actually, you know, do I want to keep being employed? Is this something I want to keep doing forever? And I thought, no. I think after having that wedding planning and then suddenly the quiet time of not wedding planning, I think I was looking for a new project. So I thought, oh, do you know what? I'll just start this little sweets company. All I'm going to do is sweet carts for weddings, because I did one for our wedding. And I thought it was just a nice little bit of money coming in. It's a nice little project. I can just do that. I'm not going to leave work though. I'm not going to leave work. 6 months later, obviously, I ended up leaving work and starting Lisa's Sweet Treats and going full time with it. But I literally left work with nothing. I think people kind of had an idea of, no, well, you must have written a business plan or you must have had these customers to go into. But I left work. I'd organised 2 meetings and neither of them became customers. And that was that was literally it. And then I wrote a business plan in the first month, and then that kind of went out the window very quickly because it wasn't actually realistic. It's all very well saying, I'm going to get 10 customers in my first month, but right, how are you actually going to do that? And I think that document kind of wasn't quite right for me. So then I just left work, and that was 2 years ago in September that I left work and went full time with my business.
Wow. I think going back to like being in school, and it was something that somebody said to me the other day, was that at no point when you're going through your education does somebody say, do you want to set up your own business? It's always about, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor, an accountant, or I want to go into trades, or I want to, do you know what I mean? There's not necessarily that education aspect within schools and within that aspect to kind of say that that is an option out there for people, is there? You know, so therefore it becomes that moment, I suppose, later on in life where you have that moment of realization that actually this is something that I want to do, that I'm not getting that fulfillment from being employed. I want to be my own boss.
Absolutely. I think having grown up with that, I think that really kind of gave me that advantage and that eye-opening to all of our friends, all of our family friends, all of our circle of friends have all been their own boss and have all been self-employed. My parents run a gardening company, and they have various contracts doing that. And for me, oh my gosh, no, I do not know anything about grass cutting or anything. I regularly have to FaceTime my mum for advice. But I say it's growing up, and I think just having that mindset, I think you learn a lot about being self-employed in terms of the highs and lows. I think growing up with that really did help making that decision.
Yeah, so tell me about what you offer. What is Lisa's Sweet Treats? Tell me about your products. Tell me about everything.
Lisa's Sweet Treats.
Make me hungry.
I can always do that. That's fine. So Lisa's Sweet Treats, I have an online shop offering a whole range of gifts for all diets, for dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian and vegan. I also have a corporate section of the business, which I'll come on to in a second, and also the event side as well. So the event side is doing sweet carts and also sweet cones and party bags, and I post them all over the UK, be it for weddings, be it for birthdays, or be it for any other sort of celebration, school proms and things like that. And then the corporate side as well. So I offer sweets to help businesses to win their prospects, to sweeten the experience for their customers or for their employees. So be it sweet jars, giant hampers, lots of small sweet bags, and everything in between. Everything's personalized and branded accordingly, and also sweet filled letters as well. So yeah, any letter in the alphabet's all sweet filled. And I have a new product which has left China today. So so yes, keep your eyes peeled. That's coming soon.
Oh my goodness, that's a new kind of venture for you to go to China to get it. How have you found all of that?
Eye-opening. And without sounding really cheesy, I've met some lovely people through your book club. Yeah. And that's been really good to help me with actually managing that import process, and that's been really good. But that's a very eye-opening experience, and I think I'll breathe a bit easier when it's here in my hands. So
is it getting shipped over by sea?
Yes, by sea. Wow. So yeah, so I think I'm looking about 5 weeks from now when it will get here. So
I'm looking
very excited.
I was going to say bated breath, waiting for it. So is it just sweets that you offer, or is there more? Do you do?
Yes, so I do chocolates as well. So I do big chocolate hampers. We had a bit of an issue this week with obviously the weather and the chocolate. These are the things that you don't expect as a business owner to suddenly start panicking about. But also offer chocolate, and as well as all the sweets for different diets as well, like sugar-free as well. All of that's catered for. I think for me it's really important that people who have different dietary requirements don't feel left out, and actually don't feel like you're missing out on things. For my mother-in-law's gluten-free and dairy-free, and my sister-in-law's vegetarian, gluten-free and dairy-free. So I think I never want to feel like people are excluded based on that, and they should be offered the same good quality products as well.
Yeah, that's really good actually, because I think especially in this day and age that there is a lot more awareness of dietary kind of requirements, a lot more kind of, and it's not nice. I mean, I've that I've got a little boy, and he's fine dietary aspect, but some of his friends can't eat dairy, they can't eat this, can't eat that, and so therefore when they have something potentially at school or after school, they can't join in, and it's not a nice feeling, if you know what I mean. So I think it's great that. So looking back to when you started your business, Lisa, if somebody is out there on Facebook land or LinkedIn land or in YouTube thinking, can you hear the aeroplane that's going by? The joys of live webinars. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that's thinking, well, I could do that, I could set up?
I would say get going. I think don't sit on it for too long, don't dwell on it for too long. I'm awful for doing that, and I think I definitely need to practice that more. But I'd say just get going. Honestly, what's the worst that's going to happen? I think if you genuinely believe that it's a good idea and that you can make it work, then I think do it. I think you'd end up looking back really regretting things. And my other thing is, probably not sound business advice, is to follow your gut. And I think there's a lot to be said for actually just following your gut and to get out there, really, to get out there and network and to meet people. I think the more you go along to different events, especially virtually now, the fact that we're still doing a lot of things on Zoom, I think, try and be really efficient with your time and actually go out and network and meet different people. Because you never know when you have that conversation with somebody, they might be your next customer or spark an idea or help you realize something or cement something in your own mind. I think having those conversations is really good. I know sometimes people are quite secretive about their businesses and they think I'm too scared to share it. And I think it would probably take a lot of effort to copy some things. I think don't be afraid to talk about your business and
no, I agree. I mean, one of the key philosophies within Action Coach is that word abundance. There's abundance, it's out there, there's enough business out there for all of us, and actually one size doesn't fit all, and one product doesn't fit every person within the marketplace. And actually learning and supporting other businesses that are of a like-minded kind of business idea is actually, you get so much benefit from it. We often run workshops where we have other coaches on there, and people always go, you've got another coach, and it's like, yes, because I can learn from them as well as they can learn from me, and that's the key aspect of it all, to be quite honest. But yeah, and I agree, getting out there and getting noticed and that, and we always say again, there's no such thing as perfection.
Yes, and I think when you said that, I think that was a couple of weeks ago, I think for me that kind of really made me think of, actually, do you know what, if I sit around and wait for the perfect time, I'll be here forever. So just crack on.
Yeah, no. So what's your favorite sweet?
My favorite sweet is probably the fizzy bubblegum bottles, the blue and pink ones, or chocolate mice. They're a close call between the two. So
oh, interesting. I'd be interested to know if anybody's listening what their favorite sweets are.
Because this is the question that I love the most of what people say.
Is it your opening question when you go networking?
Absolutely, and it's my opening question when I interviewed recently as well. That was my first question, to find out straight away what sweet people like. So I feel like you can tell a lot about a person. So
so if I said fizzy cola bottles, what does that tell you?
Solid choice.
I love it. So why do sweets stand out against any other kind of gifting opportunity? So why should I utilize sweets to make myself and my business stand out?
I think for me, and the reason that I started it is, actually, if you start a new job or something and you get like a branded box of chocolates that are probably from a major chain, it's just not very personal, and you get chocolates everywhere. And actually, with COVID as well, lots of pick and mix counters are closing. It's something different. It gives people that chance to reminisce. People go, oh look, I got some flying saucers in mine, or oh look, I haven't had a milk bottle for ages. And I think it's for me, it's having those conversations and actually sparking that excitement by having something really different. It's not just your generic bottle of wine, and then you think, oh, does this person drink? And then you think, oh, if I wanted to say thank you to somebody, and actually kind of what you're probably saying thank you to employees, also their family who are supporting them, who are accepting if they're sort of working longer hours. It's all for kind of the great good of the family, and actually having a gift that you can then share with the family. I think for me that was a really big thing of, actually, if you get a bottle of wine, it's, do they drink red, do they drink white? A lot of alcohol is not vegan as well, whereas actually I feel like it's a lot safer option to send sweets, and people love it, because who doesn't love sweets landing on their doorstep?
I was going to say, and it's not something that you necessarily buy on a regular basis.
Yes.
Yeah, it's more of a treat, or unless you've got kids and you've got a kitchen cupboard full of sweets to appease them at some point. But it's not something that is, you would buy potentially a bar of chocolate or something like that, but you wouldn't necessarily buy a bag of sweets. Yeah, it's fascinating. But from a business opportunity, what strategies have you used to utilize your sweets in getting yourself out there in respect of your kind of business?
Yeah, I think it's hard, that our emails generally are full of people cold selling to us, and they're saying, oh yeah, I'm different because of this, and I'm different because of this, and can we arrange a one-to-one? And people are busy. It's a lot to ask of somebody to give up an hour of their time to be sold to. So for me, it's hard to get in front of people to demonstrate what I do and actually the power of it. So for me, something that I've done recently is I've kind of harnessed that, and I've emailed a cold list of people who have never heard of me, don't know anything about what I do, and just say, can I send you some free pick and mix? And the email responses back were brilliant. I say, if so, just send me your address. And I've sent out a whole load of pick and mix to people. And actually for me, it's getting that return on investment on something fairly inexpensive, what I offer to businesses, and actually knowing that you will get your money back. You'll get some lovely new contacts, some great new customers. For me, it's something that I found has worked really well. I spend a lot of other time telling people, why don't you do this? Why don't you offer this sort of service? Whereas actually, it's something now that I've empowered and started doing myself, which has been really good to do and to offer to people.
So what's the dream for Lisa Sweet Treats? What's the ambition? What's the goal?
The dream is to be the UK's go-to for sweets. So if you're thinking, Julie's thinking, oh, I'm going to organise a birthday party for my son, where am I going to go for party bags? Because I need to make sure that they're all blue and then they've got a Minecraft sticker on it, because that's what, or for example, it's that I want to be that go-to that comes to mind first of going, right, this is where I'm going to shop for sweets. And if you think, oh, do you know what, I haven't had any milk bottles in ages, I'll go to Lisa Sweet Treats, because I know I'm going to get excellent service, excellent value for money, and they're going to get here quickly. So for me, I want to be that UK go-to for confectionery gifting.
Yeah. And what sets you apart then? Because there's other companies that do this thing out there, you know, that deliver sweets. So why would I come to you? I mean, we always talk at Action Coach about unique selling point and, you know, in standing out from the crowd and kind of like, you know, making yourself slightly different from others. So what is it? Why should I come to you?
So for me, it's the good quality sweets. You're not going to get a nasty fried egg or a cola bowl. You're going to get actually good quality. And that's something I feel really strongly about, that actually you're going to get really good quality sweets. Definitely in terms of a hygiene perspective as well, we're very, very hot on hygiene. There's some big changes coming in food hygiene law, and actually we're already on top of that already, and they're coming in October, but actually for us there's no changes to make, which is really good. For me, it's excellent service as well. If you had a concern, you want to pick up the phone, if you want to ask some questions before ordering, that's absolutely fine. I really think that genuinely excellent service is something that we excel on, and great value for money. We're not the cheapest, but also excellent value for money. And the new product that is coming out in August is something that is brand new and exclusive, the only place in the UK to buy it. So very
I'm looking forward to that. So what type of clients, like from a corporate point of view, do you work with?
So I work with all sorts of clients in all different sectors. I've worked with clients in the event sector, in hospitality, such as hotels, and also worked with virtual events companies. So people who are organising a sales conference, say for 150 staff, and they want something for them to all arrive, and they all need to arrive on Monday morning. So it's those kind of things which I love doing, because as people are as part of their conference, the sweets are just going through and falling on the doorsteps, which is absolutely fabulous. I also work with business coaches. I work with mortgage advisors. I work with financial advisors, with accountants who are sending out jelly beans saying, you know, here's from your official bean counter, which is absolutely brilliant.
Oh, I love that.
I've worked in the retail sector for internal launches for Black Friday as well. So doing blackjacks and black jelly beans and black wine gums, doing all sorts of sweet things with that. Also estate agents as well. So when you come and collect your keys and then you get a nice packet of sweets with it. Worked across so many different sectors, which I absolutely love doing.
So the growth of your business at the moment is it's going up, it's growing, obviously, you know, and you've just employed your first member of staff. So tell me a bit about that process, about that kind of, because there'll be business owners out there that will be sat there going, oh, you know, should I, shouldn't I? Yes, no. It's a massive step, and we always say, you know, from an Action Coach point of view, it is a huge step to take to actually employ and be responsible for somebody. So tell me about your process. How did you go through it from your mindset to actually physically doing it?
Yeah, so I think for me, I kind of got to about February, March time. The business was busy. I was operating it just from home. Everything was registered to home, and that was working absolutely fine. And then I kind of thought, do you know what? If I'm going to grow the business, I need somebody else here with me, somebody else to help. There's only so many hours in the day. You can outsource some things virtually, so things like an accountant, legal health, and things like that. But actually, to physically be hands-on in the office, taking photos, looking at digital marketing. So the first thing for me was working out, what do I not like doing, and what could I use somebody else's expertise to do? Because that was a really big thing for me, is that you're not going to be an expert at everything. So get somebody who knows what they're doing, or somebody who's got the passion to learn to do those activities. And for me, taking on my first employee was absolutely the biggest thing that I've done, because getting an office is reversible in terms of, you know, you're on a 30-day contract to hand back in your keys, and that's fine. But for me, this was kind of the biggest thing. So I started looking at some different options. I used a network of people and say, right, oh, if you had an apprentice, if you had a Kickstarter, if you looked at a graduate school either. And I think for me, I'd gained so much from working and learning at the same time that then I looked down the apprentice route. So I engaged a local college, had a chat to them about some different options, and then wrote the job description, and it kind of all happened very fast from there, which is brilliant. They helped to support me to write the application. They did all sort of the screening interviews and things, and asked me, right, what do I want to know about somebody? And for me, it wasn't about making sure someone's got this grade in this and this grade in this. It's much more about attitude, about personality, and the willingness to learn. And the lovely Alice, who's here with me now, is on week 3 now, and absolutely thrown herself in the deep end. And yeah, for me, it's absolutely like a brilliant move. It's a scary move to employ somebody, and it's got to be a lot of trust, especially when you're a small business. But it's something that I think is so worth doing. And for me, I do wish that I had considered it sooner.
So why did you go down the apprentice route rather than Kickstart or a permanent employee in that respect?
Yeah, so the apprentice route I went down, it's a good trial opportunity for both me and Alice. So Alice is here for 2 years, so it gives us both a chance to work together, and actually for Alice to discover what she really enjoys, and also for me to realise, right, I've got the help and the expertise. Alice is going to college and learning all of these great skills, and learning things through learning on the job as well, and actually just giving me that bit of breathing space. But also while Alice can get some great learning in as well. And I think, we're sort of already sort of finding out, sort of Alice's passions and how I can support them best coming through the apprenticeship. But I think by having that 2-year commitment rather than a 6-month one where they might be with you for a bit, and then you suddenly, by the time they found their feet, then they're moving on, or they might be looking for alternative work. And a permanent employee, I think I didn't want to take somebody on and then be like, oh no, I'm not enjoying it, I want to go down this route. And I think, well, I've taken them on to do this. Whereas I think a 2-year apprenticeship has really given us that good chance. Then hopefully by the time Alice finishes it and wants to stay, then we'll have that route already set up in terms of a permanent job role. And I think there's a lot of support out there as well for people who are looking to take on apprentices. There's some financial support from the government, but also more the support from the college has been really good to help when she goes into college, and also the recruitment side. Yeah,
so that's a local college to yourself?
Yes, that's Warwickshire College Group. I had to proper think about that. Warwickshire College Group. So they've been a brilliant help, especially with COVID as well. Been really good with supporting that recruitment side.
Perfect. And what kind of, you touched on COVID there, and it's obviously something that's quite popular topic of discussion these days, but equally, in particular this week with the kind of the world opening, the UK opening up that more step, how have you coped in the last 18 months? What kind of impact has it had, and have you had to pivot and change that usual word, that pivot? So one of those words that you think, I never want to hear again. But over the last 18 months, obviously, did it have a massive impact on your business, and how have you overcome those challenges that have been thrown at you?
Oh yes, indeed, Julia. I did have to pivot the business, as you would hate the phrase, but yes. I left work and ended up supplying a hotel fairly early on, just with some small sweet bags, and then I kind of really broke into that hotel and hospitality sector. So what I continued to do was work in that sector. It was all going swimmingly, because there's nothing on the horizon where all the hotels are ever going to get shut down. And then it got to March, and I lost all my customers. I had no work, I had nothing, and I thought, well, it's fine, like everybody else, it's just going to be a couple of weeks and we'll all be back to it, and it's going to be back to normal. So honestly, I didn't really know what to do, so I went to go and work at Tesco just to keep some money coming in. So I did about 6 weeks working at Tesco, and then I was like, right, okay, enough, I need to get back on it and get back on the business. So I started with the online shop then, and I started offering gifts for people who weren't seeing each other, and people who were missing their family and their friends, and the would-be wedding days and those sorts of gifts. And it went absolutely crazy. It was absolutely mad, really, really busy. So I was like, right, okay, now I need to get back on the more corporate side. So I started doing gifts for employees, so people who want to say thank you to employees who are working at home. And working with those businesses, and that was really good to do that, and just to offer that out to those businesses.
So I was going to say, so it's like thinking outside the box, isn't it? And it's
definitely
looking for those opportunities. But it's an area that some people do struggle with, and business owners, because there's those key elements of why we go into business by ourselves, and one of them is that we're good at our craft, and then all of a sudden, if our craft is taken away, it's like, oh, now, like you say, now what do we do? And I think probably, speak for the majority of people last year when it happened in March, we all put the duvet over our head and kind of went, no, it's all got to go away in 3 weeks or 4 weeks, or and then you have that moment of realization very quickly that actually it's not going to, and we need to adapt, we need to change, and we need to move forward. But for some people it's been a more challenging journey than others.
Yeah, and for me, I'm not creative in that sense. I find it quite hard to come up with new ideas, and that's not where my strength is at all.
So don't come across like that. Can I just say
that? I think for me it's having those conversations with people, by saying, oh, have you thought about this? And I think for me there's so many opportunities for the business and so many ideas. Actually, this afternoon we're having a whole afternoon of doing brainstorming, which I can't wait for, to get all those ideas out of my head and start chatting through some really good ideas, which is going to be which can be brilliant, because I think it's really hard to keep on your toes. And I think we're saying about networking earlier, by having these conversations with people, they say, well, have you thought about doing this, and have you thought about doing this? I think the more you have those chats with people, you never know quite where they'll lead or what they might spark off in your mind, and which is brilliant.
No, and it's one thing that always comes out of like our workshops is it's all about that relationship marketing. It's all about those referrals and about those networking and those strategic alliances and all of those kind of things that we always talk about and actually maybe do naturally. And we often say about looking at the life cycle of your product. So, who comes before you and who comes after you, and who could you team up with to make sure that they're utilizing you and you're utilizing their database and your database. And so to create that strategic alliance is it's key. It's key. Do you work alongside other kind of food production people, as in other kind of gifting ideas, or is that something
I don't massively at the moment, but it's definitely something that I would look into. And I think especially around things like Easter, I've worked with huge chocolate companies, and for me, when I'm looking to outsource things, I outsourced production of loads of chocolate lollipops before, and for me it was so important to then work with another small business, somebody who is, if they get that big order, they're going, I'm gonna have a glass of wine, I'm so happy that I've secured that new client. I think for me there's nothing better than knowing that you're making someone's day just by working with another small business, and that they're getting doing that little happy dance when they make that sale. Or I think for me it was really important to work with other small businesses to that point as well. I think that was a huge thing to me, and something I'd look to continue to do, especially with Christmas. I don't want to say coming up, but it is realistically coming up.
The Christmas word, the Christmas word. So what
that's long been in conversation, the Christmas word.
I was going to say, I do remember seeing a LinkedIn post or an Instagram post of you wearing a Santa hat or something like that. I was mentioning Christmas.
Yeah, I think that was like the end of May. I think that was the first Christmas quote went out. So
I was going to say though, then Lisa, like if we're all, I hate to say when we're in the middle of a heat wave, but kind of when do you start thinking about Christmas? When do you start doing your calendar for next year? When would so if we have other businesses out there that are actually looking at selling a product, when is the best time to start planning?
I think there's never kind of too soon a time to start planning, but for me it depends on what you offer. So for me, because I offer everything via post, everything has to be sent, say, by the 20th of December to allow time for it to get there. So whereas for a cake business, people might still be doing pickups on Christmas Eve, so it does kind of slightly vary on that. But in terms of, it depends on what you want to achieve out of this. For me it's a huge time of year, so it's really important to things like get the photos done really early and use those sorts of resources. So I think we're starting our Christmas planning in about 2 weeks time, and we've got every afternoon we've got chunks of time in there to start with Christmas planning. So my suppliers are starting to get stocked up for it, and planning in terms of marketing campaigns and logistics, things like the cash flow of buying stock and buying supplies. That's a really big thing for a lot of small businesses at this time of year, for seasonal businesses in particular. And I think as soon as people want to start chatting about it, I will start probably pushing it in about September to my corporate clients.
I was going to say, and from a corporate point of view, is it like the September after the summer holidays that you start desperately Christmas?
So start then. And for the consumer market, we are having a new website built at the moment, which is very exciting, and that is being launched on the 1st of October. So we're going to have some so we're going to have the Christmas stuff all live on there, which is very exciting from a consumer perspective.
I was going to say, so obviously you're building a new website, you've got everything going on. What's the biggest challenge that you're facing at the moment?
Knowing what to do. So it's all very well having all these ideas, but what am I doing on a day-to-day basis to now drive them forward? It's very easy to fill your time being busy and doing things, because you think, oh, I should do that, or I should go and tidy up a bit here, or do this. Actually, no, like, what do I actually need to do to drive the business forward? How much of my day have I spent faffing versus actually doing things? And I think for me, that's a really hard thing. I think especially when you go from employed life to self-employed, whereas when you're employed, realistically, you have to look busy between 9 and 5. And actually, when you're self-employed, all that time adds up, and you need to do the right things for you and for your business.
So do you have any tricks to keep yourself on track?
No. That's what I'm hoping you would give me, Julie. I think for me, like, having a to-do list and color coding it is a really, really big thing. And for me, I'm trying to do more time blocking. So for me, the first half an hour, every 30 minutes, 30 minutes, I'll be very extreme. For 30 minutes every day, right, I'm going to come in, I'm going to clear down Xero and sort through my receipts, check everything's uploaded. I'm going to sort out my CRM system, and then allocating chunks of time in the day. So, right, I'm going to spend an hour solid, concentrate, pop my headphones in, pop some music on, and I'm going to get on with those phone calls or get on with those emails, and actually just allowing myself an hour. There's a great app, Forest app, where you plant trees and you say, right, I'm going to concentrate for 40 minutes and do this. And I think just allowing yourself that time to just switch off, get in the zone and concentrate is my big thing. But like you said, the default diary as well, I'm trialing that as well at the moment, and just finding my feet with that.
I was going to say it's key to find a system that works for you. And we obviously we utilize like a default diary, so but it's exactly the same principle. You're allocating chunks of time to do specific tasks, whether it's networking, whether it's marketing, whether it's those phone calls, whether it's on email, whether it's Instagram, whether it's, but you're allocating the time so you don't actually spend more time than you should on those tasks, because I'm a great procrastinator. I think too much, and sometimes we always say that success likes action, so to actually be successful, how many times, I mean, maybe not me and you, Lisa, but maybe I'm doing you a disservice, but if we turn around and say we're going for a run, and then I look outside and go, oh, there's a couple of grey clouds, maybe not today, but it's a couple of grey clouds, or I'll go in an hour, and then an hour comes and you're kind of going, oh, well, the village will be, people will be walking around, they'll see me in my shorts and my t-shirt, maybe I won't go now, because you think too much. Whereas actually, if I'd just gone in that first, I would have done it and I would have achieved it and it would be successful.
I think it definitely, in terms of eating the frog, I think that's definitely something that I think, just crack on with it. That thing that you've been putting off for so long, I think just get on with it and do it. So I don't know if you can hear my dog's having very loud dog dreams in the background, which is why I've now got the giggles, because he's just absolutely just having great dog dreams. It's great times.
I can't hear it. I was going to say, like, eating the frog, for those people that are out there, it's the frog is the one task that you can put off and put off and put off. And actually what we say is, do that the first thing in the morning, get it over and done with, because actually the rest of your day will be so much better. And it's called eating your frog. It's just you eat it. So we at Action Coach have a daily meeting, and we always say, has anybody got any frogs to eat today, so that we can always go back and check on them to see if they've actually eaten them. Because you can put off and put off and put off, and then you will never actually achieve them. Now, Sarah has just commented saying that she now wants sweets for lunch. So
feel free to swing by, Sarah.
And Alex is listening in, so I'm interested to see what his favourite sweet is as well, actually. So it does make you hungry talking about them. Do you ever get fed up of sweets?
No. I think I have a very important role of taste testing, but I think my husband has also declared him as having that role of taste testing, and any new sweets that come in, I must try these. I feel it's my duty before they go to your customers that I just check these are okay. So but yeah, definitely don't get sick of sweets. I think maybe I will sometimes, but I think the only time I really feel it is if I've been in the office for sort of 12-15 hours at Christmas, constantly packing sweets, and then you come back in at 6 the next morning and the smell hits you, the sweetness of the sweets. I think that's sometimes the only time when I feel, okay, I need a day doing something different.
So if you're looking at the price range of gifts that you offer, the kind of the corporate, is it expensive? Is it, I mean, we always talk about marketing campaigns and actually looking at potentially what you can gain, what is your customer worth? And actually marketing is an investment, it's not a cost, because the investment is in potentially getting that customer. And when you get that customer, you have to think of the lifetime value of that customer. So if they've purchased for you from your birthday this year, will they purchase for their birthdays next year and the year after and the year after and the year after? You know, it's looking at the lifetime value of it. So if I was a business out there thinking, well, okay, you know, potentially utilizing sweets as a lumpy mail kind of sweetener or whatever kind of is something that I would be interested in. Price point, what is the initial investment from you that they need to make?
Yes, I think for like small sweet bags, you're probably looking at about £2 a sweet bag for the smaller ones. If you want to give them away at like seminars or workshops, then that's the sort of price point. But say for my probably the budget package, which is say 2 paper sweet bags in a letterbox, you'd be looking at about £7 plus VAT for those, and that includes postage, personalization. So I think for a lot of businesses, £7 is a very affordable rate to convert a customer, because you'll know what your average customer spend is. If you're a some of your customers will stay with you for life. If you look at like financial advisors, pension people, mortgage brokers, they will keep coming back to you every single year. So it's worth that £7 every year or every 2 years to actually keep them sweet and keep your name in their mind and keep them coming back to you. That's a really big thing for me. I love helping businesses retain their customers through sweets.
No, and I've come off a Profit Club this morning, and literally we were talking about repeat custom and increasing the number of transactions a customer makes. And it's all about communication. Communication is key with our customers, but actually you need to make it exciting. You need to make it kind of stand out when you communicate with them. So your product is actually a perfect kind of enhancement to that. And for those people out there that are thinking, well, actually, I could do that, I can make my product stand out. You know, if they're offering a similar product to you, as in something that could go in that lumpy mail, is there any kind of, what would you recommend that they put in it? You know, as in like the letter, is it an offer? What would go out in your kind of lumpy mail package?
I think do something that reflects your personality. So for me, I'm very friendly and very chatty. And I think for me, it was really important that actually you kind of got my personality across in the letter. And for me, I like to really create like a good warm feeling with my customers. And that was something that I felt was really important to do. And then in terms of, for me, I put in some business cards, the ingredients, the allergen information, and also put in a letter. So I put in an A5 letter, which really advised people what to do next. So, Lisa said she'd get in touch and send me some sweets, and then just explaining, this is why you've received this is what it is, this is the benefits to your customers, that's the key thing to pass on, and then said, right, I'll follow up with a call, and that's what I've been doing at the moment, following up with everybody to check their sweets arrived and for any feedback.
And is that calling aspect, because I mean, sometimes we have people, business owners that speak to us, that actually making those phone calls can be quite daunting, because sometimes you feel like people are going to turn around and say, no, go away. And it's that fear of rejection to a certain way. How have you got over that? Any tips?
I don't think I have, honestly, and I think we've grown up a lot in now, especially like my generation, where everything's done by email, everything's done through social media, and actually people don't want to pick up the phone and have a chat to people. And I think for me, I can feel myself going, right, okay, I just need to make these 5 calls, and I can feel myself procrastinating, or I'm like, oh, maybe I should, like you're saying about going for a run, I'm like, oh, maybe I should, it's a bit sunny out, maybe they'll be in the garden. No, Lisa, just pick up the phone and do these phone calls. And I think it's just telling yourself, what's the worst that happens? Somebody might hang up on you. They might say, I don't like the sweets, bye. I think actually, if that's the worst possible thing that's going to happen, that's okay. If you get one of those, you've probably got 30 people who go, I love it, Lisa. No one's ever hung up on me, by the way, and said, I don't like sweets. But I feel I should say.
No, I was going to say, and like Brad Sugars always uses an example of a business that he coached a while back, years ago in Australia, that was a double glazing kind of business, and he was talking to the telesales guys, and he was saying, what number of the calls do you actually get a sale? And this guy was like, it's about the 100th call that actually gets a sale. And it's just like, well, okay, that 100th call, what is it worth? The monetary aspect, what is it worth? And he said, a couple of $1,000, so actually breaking it down, each call that you're making is actually worth some element of money.
Yeah.
So and as soon as you change that mindset, actually, that each call that you're making is actually worth something, then it becomes a more positive experience. Because even though you've got to know where you're like, well, okay, that call was worth $20 or that call was worth $30. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, that one was worth $30 because it's getting you closer to that 100th call to actually make. Now, I know that, people will purchase your suites before the 100th call, but equally, it's a great kind of mindset to and that would be my top tip to anybody out there, that actually you do need to get the no's to get the yeses. Not every person is going to have 100% success rate for every call that they make to get a client from them. Otherwise, phenomenal business if they do, and I'd like to talk to them, please.
And I think for me it's a lot. I didn't realize that. I thought, oh no, I'm going to be bothering them or interfering with their day. I didn't realize how many people I pick up the phone to and they go, oh yeah, Lisa, I was meaning to call you. And I think for me that was a really big thing of actually going, do you know what, if you're bothering somebody's day, they just won't answer the phone, so don't worry. And if you call them a few times and you still don't get through, but just don't worry about it. I think for me, I'm not in the business of hounding people. That's not my style. That's not what I want to do. Keep calling until you get so sick of me. I don't want to do business with people who are like that. So for me, that's not what I want to offer.
And how do you broach the conversation? Do you have script? Do you have kind of key points that are written down that you want to talk to them about? Or do you just fly by the seat of your pants and just kind of see where the conversation goes?
Yeah, I've kind of got a little bit of a script, like a first couple of question prompts. But for me, I find it quite hard picking up the phone and selling, essentially.
Yeah.
I think I find it much easier to just have a chat and just be, okay, this is what I do. How can I help you? Do you think it would work with your clients? Shall we arrange to, have a Zoom meeting? I can show you some bits. But I think for me, I very much just kind of see how how it's going and what the client's saying, or potential client is saying. This is something that I hadn't really considered before. We discussed it at one of the growth clubs actually a few weeks ago, is actually how we all like to be approached differently about things, rather than saying, oh yeah, no, Judy, I feel what you're saying, or no, Judy, no, I can hear you. And actually going, right, different people like to learn differently. So for me, I try and attach like a nice PDF with a 1-page summary, and then it's also got another 4 or 5 pages of documentation with it. So actually, depending on how you learn best, you've got those different options for different ways to learn about things. I think for me, that was a big thing of actually going, that everyone likes to be sold to differently, everyone likes to be communicated to differently. That's okay.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of guilty, I suppose, of the fact that, they always say, treat people how you want to be treated, but actually it's not. Speak to people how they want to be spoken to and how they want to be communicated with. And it was a massive learning curve for me that, some people like to have a chat. Both of us love to have a chat, as you can tell, but equally some people are very much to the point and they want to make decisions like that. Other people like to think about it. They like the details, they like the ingredients, the allergens, that all of those kind of documentation. And it's learning and picking up on the kind of the words that people are saying to actually ascertain how they want to be spoken to. So I think it's key. But
I've got one customer, sorry, just to jump in. I've got one customer who said she never is chit chatty. How are you? What's going on? How's things? She's like, Lisa, I want 500 sweet bags. Here's the address. Here's the date. Done. And I've got one customer who will give me a call and be like, what's going on? How's business? Is there anything I can help with? Oh, by the way, maybe I'll order some sweet bags. Oh,
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And it's learning, actually, for me, I'm much more of that sort of chatty person. But actually, customer A doesn't want that. They want to just get some sweet bags and get on with their life. Yeah. That's absolutely fine. I think I was talking to somebody the other day, said every customer would want to have a phone call. And I thought, well, actually, I don't think that's true, because for me, the corporate sector, people are busy. They don't want to have a chit chat. They want to be able to write an email at 9 o'clock at night with a glass of wine and go, right, okay, I need to do that. That's been on my list. They don't want to have a chat on the phone. And that's okay. That's fine. I think not everyone is the same. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you could say the future holds for Lisa, so looking forward to the next 5 years, 10 years, where will Lisa be at that point? You are the go-to. What will that mean to you?
I think for me, that's a really big thing that I need to define better. Yeah. I think hopefully by then I'll have a family. And for me, that is a really big thing of actually being able to, whether it's take a step back from the business, or the business might be in a different form by then, or something completely different could be happening, who knows. But I think for me, it's just having that overall, that happiness of not working all the time. Not that I'm not working excessively now, but I think actually just being on my own path and being it's okay, whatever's happening is happening.
Mhm.
And yeah, I haven't got an exact plan of where I want to be in 5 or 10 years time, but just knowing that it's meant to be, and I can drive myself forward to that
Yeah.
place, wherever that place.
Cool. And if there's any businesses out there that want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
Yeah, so the best thing to do is to Google Lisa Sweet Treats, and you'll find all the details there to get in touch. The email address is lisa@lisasweettreats.co.uk. But so yeah, absolutely the best way is to get in touch, or through social media as well. So if you Google Lisa Sweet Treats and look for the nice pink logo, which I'm rocking the branded top today, that's definitely the best way to get in touch.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I follow you on Instagram and constantly crave sweets. So,
well, you can blame Alice for that. That's her excellent photography.
So you're doing a really good job there, Alice, in the background. So perfect. But that's brilliant, Lisa. Thank you so much for
thanks for having me,
today. Yeah, no, I've lived it. I always love chatting to you, like you know. So, and learning more about you and your business is phenomenal. And I think, you know, I'm sure the people out there in Facebook, LinkedIn land, and also Alex, who's joined us on the webinar today, it's fascinating to hear your journey when you're only 2 years in, you know, that you have gone through a pandemic, that you are successful in what you do, and that you're taking fundamental steps forward in recruiting people, in actively marketing. I can't wait to hear the ideas that you've got this afternoon, and I look forward to catching up with you, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people reaching out to you. I think, oh, Lisa, Alex, question from Alex is, Lisa, if I want to send sweets to my clients, you can send them, or do I have to?
Oh yeah, great question, Alex. No, I can send them all for you. You don't have to faff around with queuing up at the post office or going, what box is this going to fit in? You can just send over the list of names and addresses, and I do all the posting for you. We'll agree colors, and also like colors of sweet bags and messages, but don't worry, I do all the legwork for the posting. So
yeah, so you don't need to, Alex. See, it's cool. I was going to say, Lisa did send some of the action coach ones out, and he says thank you. Saying some of the action coach ones, and they came in beautiful bags that were like blue and white, and with the sticker, and it was all branded and very our colours, and it was just it makes an impact. It really does make an impact.
Brilliant.
So therefore, when people are looking at their marketing plans and their marketing tools that they could potentially use, it is a perfect thing to enhance what you're already doing when you're looking at your sales process to get those clients over the line. So no, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
My absolute pleasure. I'm sure if anybody's got any questions out there, they will be in touch directly to you, Lisa. And yeah, it just says me thank you, and we'll see you again soon. So take care, guys.
Thank you very much, Julie.